All right, hey guys, welcome back to the Marvel Shuffled Monthly Challenge. So this is, if you guys don't know, our monthly Marvel Champions challenge on the channel, and in which we go to Marvel Shuffle, hit the shuffle button, and create a deck with the hero and aspect given to take on a scenario. Now, I went through the whole rigmarole of hitting shuffle to give us a random setup. However, I was playing Gambit's ability wrong for the last 30 minutes. And so instead of doing this all over again, I'm just going to tell you this is what the setup is, and I'll come down to the deck here shortly. But this is going to be the setup. It's going to be Gambit and Leadership with Spiral and Crime, Fantasy, and Sitcom. So let's go down to the table here, and we'll look at the cards. So we've got the deck here, and basically Gambit's whole deal is getting these charge counters and adding additional attack to his attack events. However, Leadership doesn't have a lot of attack events. So Spiral's whole thing is trying to spend to thwart the side scheme to search for Spiral to fight her. So we're going to basically use the allies to kind of control the board state and then get in some large attacks with Gambit on Spiral when it gets to that point. That's kind of the general idea. So really, everything here is to kind of facilitate the all of the allies and really keep the strong ones on the board for a long time, have a bunch out, and then utilize those abilities. So really, to kind of support that, we have Endurance for, and so this is for Gambit really, the resources and Endurance because he just has 9 health. X-Men Instructions is to fly through some of the allies that we want to keep playing for their play effects, like Triage, Pixie, Beast. Mirage is another one that when she enters play, gets an effect. Professor X, of course. So these are characters that we kind of want them to come through. Some of these lower cost ones, they'll be cheaper, especially when we have ourselves set up. They won't really cost anything. But that's kind of to reshuffle those back into the deck. We have Uncanny X-Men. Each of your X-Men allies get +1 hit point, and then if each of your allies has the X-Men trait, each of your X-Men allies cost 1 fewer to play. Everyone's an X-Men, so it's going to be everybody's 1 cheaper, and they all get +1 attack. We also have Triskelion, just to increase our ally limit, so we have 4 allies. Then Utopia, if each of your allies has the X-Men trait, increase your ally limit by 1, so this will put us at 5. So we can have 2 or 3. I'm thinking like Rogue, Storm, maybe Colossus, because he just hits hard. Kind of have them in play constantly, or kind of have them as the staples in play mainly, and then we can Danger Room training them to give them +1 thwart, attack, and hit points, and then kind of use the other 2 spaces or other 1 space to kind of bring in Triage or Beak or Angel or Professor X or whatever. So that's sort of the idea. We have Call for Backup to bring in an ally, mainly to get maybe Storm or Colossus in. They're just kind of bigger, or Beast. Build Support is to help us get Uncanny X-Men in. Really, any of these will come in, but Uncanny X-Men is mainly the target because it's 3. Forge is there as not necessarily a mistake, but when I was putting them together, I realized I only have 1 X-Men traded support, which is Utopia, so we'll use him to get Utopia, which will be good because then that way we can get this out early. I want to try to get these out early and not be held back by the fact that I can't play my allies. So yeah, so the ally is going to be basically facilitating the board state, kind of keeping it under control, and then we're going to kind of boost Gambit up with some counters, and then come in with some hits and try to do some damage. So that's going to be kind of the general gist of the setup. So let's go ahead and get the deck shuffled up, and then we'll get into the scenario. And as always, the deck will be linked down below on Marvel CDB. If you guys want to try this particular setup yourself out and see how well you do, or if you want to use the given parameters to make your own deck, link me down the deck below or tell me about it in the comments. Either way, I'd be interested to know how you guys approach this, particularly because Gambit really does well with attack events, and we're not doing attack events. So it's going to be kind of weird, which Leadership isn't too bad to be in because Leadership kind of can do everything. So Remy LeBeau, we've got here, he's 3 recovery, he's 6 hand size, 9 hit points. Thief Extraordinaire, as an action, we can exhaust Remy to look at the top 2 cards of the encounter deck, discard one of those cards to remove threat from the scheme equal to the number of boost icons on that card. And then Gambit is a 1/2/3 He has charged a card, is place 1 charge counter here. We can do this once per round. And then charged a card, or throwed a card, is interrupt. When you play an attack event, remove up to 3 charges, charge counters from here. That event deals +1 damage for each counter removed. Oh, can I pick him up? So that's what we're working with there. We have Spiral here. So the main scheme from this is across the Mojoverse. We're using the 3 Mojo Mania scenarios, or counter sets from the counters from the scenario pack. And then setup is put the Search for Spiral side scheme into play with 1 random show environment into play, which we have them here. So we're going to shuffle those up. Shuffle each other show environment together with the cornered treachery card to create the show deck, which here's the cornered treachery card. So we're going to shuffle that up too. And then this is going to be our environment, which is going to be Mojo in the middle. Each obligation gets +1 acceleration icon, and then after a player discards an obligation, that player draws a card. So we're going to have that in play. Then it says flip her to her escape side, which she's on, and then across the Mojoverse, force interrupt when a show environment would be discarded, placed at the bottom of the show deck instead. And then if this stage is completed, the players lose. Search for Spiral is going to be, oh, just like that. We'll place this over here. So search for Spiral. After threat is removed from here, the player who removed that threat reveals the top card of the show deck and places 3 threat here. And then as a hero action, we can take 2 damage, remove 3 threat from here. So we'll set up with 1 threat there, with our 3 threat here, and we have Spiral. So her escape side, she's a 1 blank. Spiral cannot attack, damage, or be stunned, take damage or be stunned, and then she cannot threat cannot be removed from the main scheme. As a force interrupt, when Spiral would attack, she schemes instead. And then on her other side, her cornered side, if there are at least 3 teleport counters here, remove all of them and flip Spiral. Oh, excuse me. And then as a force response, after Spiral activates, place 1 teleport counter here, and then she's a 1/1 then. Okay, let me just take a drink of water. Okay, and let's go ahead and get started here. So ideally, I'd like to get a lot of stuff going, if possible. So, Endurance is great. I want to start off with Endurance. We might want Professor X just for the sheer fact that we would be able to maybe get rid of some of the scheme on there. We'll keep Professor X. Actually, I'll keep all of this. And then we're going to discard these 2. Okay. So I think the first thing I want to do is probably discard energy for Utopia. We're going to activate his ability, so we're going to exhaust him and look at the top card here, top 2 cards here. Let's discard Law and Order. So this will go back on top. We'll remove 3 threat from this. So the new card will get put here. This will go to the bottom. We have Dial M for Mojo. So each other encounter card gains Insight 1, but then each friendly character gets +1 thwart. So that gets put it back on there. We're going to flip. We are then, let's see. We'll spend these 3 for Professor X. We're going to confuse her. We're going to use him to thwart all this. So that's 4 thwart off of him. But that gets removed. We're going to flip over the next one, which is Mojo's game. +1 hand size, and then each, there's a boost icon. So that comes into play. This comes back. We're going to activate our ability to give ourselves a charge counter. We're going to end our go. Oh, actually, and then I would have exhausted this to ready him up, and then we could have exhausted. We can remove threat from here. Okay, then we're going to end our turn. Again, +1 hand size. So we have 5 now. Threat gets added. She's going to scheme but can't. This will come into play. Drawing near, it's an obligation. After your turn begins, discard the top card of your deck. Place 1 pursuit counter on pursuit by the past for each printed resource icon on that card. And then you can discard identity-specific icon or card from your hand to discard this card as an alter ego action. So that comes over here. We're going to end the go. That gets discarded. We're going to start our turn. Discard that. That 1 counter gets added there. All right, we know that the other thing will come in, so let's kind of see what we can do to get that going. So let's discard Danger Room Training for Triskelion. We are going to use Gambit to thwart this. Fortunately, I don't have any other cards here. We are then... we'll discard Mirage and training Danger Room training for Angel. No, I'm sorry, for team building. Team building exhaust. Team building exercise to play a card from your hand that shares the trait with the hero, reducing its cost by 1. I can't play this yet. Hold on, let me do that back because I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. So we're not going to do that yet. We're going to discard these two for Angel because he'll cost -1 for having that. We'll play that to unexhaust here. Then we're going to use Angel to exhaust this. This comes into play. So flip Spiral to her cornered side. This will cause any one revealed text to be resolved. Then reveal the top card of the show deck. Shuffle this card into the show deck. This card effect cannot be canceled. So she gets flipped. 3 gets added back to here. This gets revealed, which is Mojo in the middle. So each obligation gets an acceleration token. Ugh. So I'm going to put this here just to remember to add 2. We're going to flip Gambit. Oh, let's do our ability first. We'll do our ability to get that, and then we'll exhaust Gambit to do our other ability here. Look at the top 2 cards. So she'll get this as a boost icon, as a boost card. That's fine. So we're going to discard this to remove this threat from here. And then we're going to keep team building. We're going to draw up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 2 threat gets added. She's going to scheme for 1, 2. Then we have our obligation here. Or not our obligation, our counter card, which is going to be Troll. He comes in with Tough. This minion takes 1 additional damage from a card with the printed science resource. And then when defeated, the player who defeated this minion may put 1 ally from the discard pile into play. Oh, and he has a consequential. Okay, so we're going to begin our turn. This gets discarded, which is going to be 1 there. I still do not have an identity-specific card in my hand. So drawing near is becoming a problem for us. Okay. What do we want to do? Let's play Genius for team building. We'll use Gambit's ability. No, we're not going to use Gambit's ability. We're going to flip. We're going to use Gambit's ability now to do that. We're going to hit for 2 to knock that off. Oh, and she activated, so I forgot to give her counter. Then we would do X-Men Instruction to shuffle back in Professor X and Mirage. So shuffle up to 2. Oh, it's alter ego action. So we had to do it last turn, or before we flipped. So we did that before we flipped. And then we shuffled them in. I didn't use either of them to pay for anything, so it's fine. Yeah. Okay. And then we flip over, and then we... Okay. Then we are going to hit him for 2. We're going to exhaust team building and discard Pixie for triage. So after triage comes into play, heal 2 damage from an X-Men character. So we're going to heal 2 damage from that. And then we're going to exhaust Utopia to ready Gambit. She's going to hit this guy for 1. Gambit's going to hit him for 2. And we're going to keep Beast. We're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Threat gets added. She's going to attack for 1. We're going to have triage block it. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to attack for 2. We're going to take it. And then we're going to flip over on counter card, which is going to be erratic teleportation. Surge, and then when revealed, if Spiral is in her cornered side, place 1 teleport counter on here. If she's on her escape side, you may spend a science resource, look at the top card of the show deck, and put it on top or bottom. So we're going to place the counter. She's going to flip. And then this has Surge. Elementary, my dear Mojo. When revealed, remove all threat from a side scheme and put it on a main scheme, or discard cards on the top of the encounter deck until a side scheme is discarded. Huh. That gives me an interesting proposition. Let's move all the threat from a side scheme to the main scheme. So that gets added over. And then when the last threat is removed, we're going to flip that over, which is going to be Dial M for Mojo. So every encounter card gets in sight 1. 3 gets added back to that. Okay. So we're going to discard a card. It's going to give this another pursuit counter. Okay. I finally have some to do about this. So we're going to use Angel to finish him off. Oh, this would have done additional damage. It doesn't matter. He's dead anyway. So he's gone because he's got a science resource. The player who defeated this minion may put 1 ally from the discard pile into play. Oh, shoot. Let me do it this way. Sorry. Let me do this. We are going to play Beast. No. Yes. No, we're going to hit... We're going to thwart 1 from here. We are going to play Colossus by discarding Beast and charged card, because it's going to cost -1 for having an X-Men plus team building. Colossus comes into play. Reduce the cost of Colossus by 1 for your identity as a mutant or X-Men. Comes in with Tough. We're going to use Utopia to unexhaust him. Then we're going to use Angel to defeat him and take an ally from our discard pile and put it into play, which is going to be Beast. After Beast enters play, search your desk and discard pile for a resource card and add it to your hand. We're going to add Molecular Acceleration to our hand. Actually, this is additional thwart because everybody gets +1 thwart. He's going to thwart this. Mojo's game. So hand size is +1. Wait, no. Oh, that's fine, that's fine. We're going to flip down. We are then going to discard charged cards to get rid of this. So this is gone. Well, that acceleration token went with it. So now this has been discarded, so that's gone now. Then we're going to discard Molecular Acceleration, give ourselves a charge counter for Creole Charmer, remove 3 threat from a scheme. If it removes the last threat from that scheme, confuse the villain. That gets removed. She's confused. We have cornered again, so this flips. That comes back into play, and we're going to shuffle that in. We're going to have Colossus swing for 3. We're going to have Beast thwart for 2 off of there. Okay, and we're going to draw up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There's a lot to keep track of, so hopefully I didn't miss anything. And we have our maximum ally limit, so we can hold a bunch of stuff. So obligation to get +1 acceleration. So we're going to add acceleration token here. She's going to scheme but can't. She doesn't get to activate, so that doesn't flip. We're going to do our encounter card. Build the case. After a side scheme is defeated, place 1 clue counter on here. Then if there are at least 3 clue counters on here, discard this card. Now the annoying part about this is that I don't think removing the last threat on there counts as defeating it. So this is going to accelerate things by 2. So we're going to have to just knock that threat down as much as we can, which we'll be fine on, but it's still really annoying. Okay. Let's see, what do we have here? So let's activate team building. And we'll discard strength for Professor X. This is going to confuse her. We'll use Remy's ability to look at the top 2 cards here. We will discard this to remove 3 threat from a scheme. We are going to thwart with him to remove all but 1. We're going to flip. Oh, I should have done that in the other order. I should have done his ability first, then brought him in, and then exhausted this to do this. Or maybe I could have and I wasn't paying attention. We're going to play Rogue because it says reduce the cost of Rogue by 1 for each charge counter on her identity. We have 4. She would cost 4, so we get to play her. She comes with a tough status. That we can exhaust Utopia to ready back Gambit. Okay, that did work. Okay, so the question is how exactly we want to approach this. We'll swing for 2 on Spiral. We'll swing for another 2. We'll swing for 3. So 2, 2, and 3 is 7. And then we'll remove 2 threat with Beast off of here. I think that's it. Oh, an Angel. We'll swing for 2 with Angel. We're going to discard. We're going to discard those 2 and drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. Okay. Okay. 3 threat will get added. She's going to attack for 1. We're going to block with X. Oh, wrong token. 1, 2, 3. So X is gone. We have an encounter card here. It's going to be Evil Allegiance. Each Nemesis minion in play activates against you. If no Nemesis minion activates this way, place 3 pursuit counters on pursued by the path. So 3 counters get added. So now this is going to activate. So after you place a counter here, if there are 3 or more counters on here, remove each counter from here. If your Nemesis minion's in play, activates against you, otherwise flip this card. So we're going to flip. After this, you flip this card to find your Nemesis, which will be Belladonna, and the side scheme. So Belladonna comes in with Quick Strike and Tough, and then after Belladonna attacks and defeats character, place 2 threat on the main scheme. So she's going to attack for 3. That's fine, I'll take the hit. So I'm at 4 health. And then she doesn't defeat a character. And then we have her side scheme, which is the Assassin's Guild. Force response after an assassin minion attacks and defeats a character, place 2 threat here. Okay. Okay, there's a lot going on there. So first off, let's go ahead and do molecular. Oh, she attacked and get a pursuit counter on her. We'll do molecular acceleration for Beak. Hold on, let's do this. Let's attack with Gambit first, and we'll ping that off. We'll do molecular acceleration for Beak. We'll place a counter on him. After he enters play from your hand, remove 1 threat from a scheme for each X-Men ally you control. We control 5, so this all gets removed. In doing so, we add 1 counter to this. Then we have a lot of stuff here. We will discard Storm for build support. So when defeated, each player searches their deck and discard pile for a support that costs 3 or less and puts it into play. We will use these two to thwart this off. So this is removed. And then searches their deck and discard pile for support. We're going to get Uncanny X-Men out. So each of your X-Men allies get +1 hit point, and then they cost 1 less to play if everyone's an X-Men. So they'll get an additional hit point, which is nice. This adds another thing there. Then we're going to use Colossus to take her, or to do 3 damage to her. He's defeated. Did I not use Utopia? I think I did. It's fine. And then use Angel to take her out, so she's just done. And then Beast, remove 2 from there. And then we're going to flip over. Oh, we're going to add a counter and then flip over. Okay, and then we're going to end our turn. I got to remember to do that. We're going to keep Royal Flush. And we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to give ourselves an encounter card. Okay. Man, that's a lot. There's a lot going on. Okay. 3 threat gets added. We have, she's going to scheme but cannot, so that gets taken off. We've got Spiral Swords. So she gets +1 attack for each sword counter here, and then if Spiral is on her cornered side, spend 2 Fist resource to remove a sword counter from this card. Oops. Oh, we have another obligation. So we have to give this to us. Exhaust Remy and spend a yellow resource to remove this from the game. Okay. All right. So we're going to exhaust him and discard a yellow, which will be natural ability, to remove this from the game. When that happens, after a player discards an obligation, that player draws a card. So that removes it from the game, so I don't think we get that effect, unfortunately. We'll spend Thieves Guild for call for backup. We'll discard these 2 for Creole Charmer. We'll move 3 threat from here. If it removes the last threat from that scheme, confuse the villain. And then we have Dial M for Mojo. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that one? Sorry. We're going to undo. We're going to move from here. This gets removed and we get to bring an ally into play. I don't know why I did that. And then she's still confused. Yeah. We're going to bring into play Storm. And then now this is gone. And then we get to draw a card for that. Okay, holy cow, that was crazy. And then because we played, after an X-Men ally enters play to ready an X-Men character. Oh, I'm not an X-Men character right now. Okay, well, never mind. We're going to have Storm Thwart 2 from here. So then that will flip this. And then 2 gets removed from here. 3 gets added to here. We'll have Angel hit for 2, 4. I'm sorry. We'll have Beak hit for 1. So Beak's gonna hit for 1. This stage is gone. So now we're on stage 2. So if there are at least two teleport counters on here, remove all of them and flip her. And then after she activates, do that. And then this side happens. She can't take damage or be stunned. Threat cannot be removed from the main scheme. When Spiral would attack, she schemes. So same thing, but she's just stronger. I think she technically comes in on the same side. Yeah, and then she's got 15 health. And then, so yeah, so we've used that. He's going to hit for 3, 4, 5. I'm sorry, 2, 3, 6. So 9 total. And then they're gone. And I think that's it. And yeah, I think that's it. Okay. We're going to keep that in our hand. We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, threat gets added to the main scheme. She's going to thwart, or not thwart, but scheme, but she can't. We're going to flip this. It's going to be the odd couple. Reduce your ally limit by 2, so now we're down to 3 allies, which we already have 3, so we're good there. And then exhaust 2 characters control to shuffle an ally from your discard pile back into your deck and discard this obligation. But this does get Insight 1, so we're going to add that to this main scheme. Okay. So straight up, this says exhaust 2 characters control. So we're going to exhaust these 2. We're going to shuffle back in Beast. And get rid of that obligation. We are then going to spend 2 for Creole Charmer again. Remove 3 threat from here. She's confused. This gets flipped over to her cornered side. So flip Spiral to her cornered side, which will cause her when revealed text. It doesn't matter. Okay. I wasn't keeping track of that either, but that's okay. Then it was mostly to keep her confused, I suppose. Although I want to flip. No, we're just going to win the game. Okay, we are going to flip. We'll discard these 2. We'll discard these 2 for charge card. So deal 4 damage to an enemy, and then you can remove up to 3 counters to make it do more stuff. So we're going to move 3 counters off of him, and it's going to do 7 damage. And then we can just attack for 2. It doesn't even matter. Game's over. And then we would attack. Oh no, yeah, they got exhausted. We could attack with her for 2. So we win either way. So we won. So that's it. So kind of in retrospect now, thinking about this deck, I didn't get Endurance out, which I was hoping for, but we really didn't use Mirage or Danger Room Training or Pixie or Forge. Everything else would have been fine. So maybe switching that with something more effective would have worked. That was probably a bit of overkill on the planning there. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know how you guys would have approached a Gambit leadership deck. There was the option of running the sidekick stuff and just making it be Gambit and Rogue, which was a thought I had. But if his ability didn't focus so much on the attack events, I just feel I guess either way we wouldn't have got them, so it wouldn't have mattered. But I just feel like having a bunch of stuff, that's kind of the easy thing with the X-Men stuff, is just team building, Uncanny X-Men, Utopia. That just seems like a pretty straightforward thing with all X-Men cards. So how would you guys have approached it? Sidekicked with Gambit and Rogue, or done it the way I did it, or did it a different way entirely? Let me know down below. Hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Is this thing off?